South Africa's inflation rate has inched up to 5.9%, just missing the top mark of the Reserve Bank's inflation target. The rand is struggling to keep pace with global currencies as fears grow of more days of load shedding ahead. It will soften it further at least. To talk more about these and other business stories, we're joined by Karl Gevers, Portfolio Manager at Benguela Global Fund Managers. Good to see you, Karl. A good place to begin then today is a look at the general movements on the JSE and what exactly is moving global stocks today.
Yeah, good afternoon. The all share index is up about 1/3% this afternoon, mainly driven by domestic names, as well as some of the currency hedges. As you mentioned, the rand weakening to about 15 rand to the dollar. On the other side, the resources are lagging slightly today, which is a bit of a reversal from yesterday's picture. In terms of the bigger moves, and Discovery dipped slightly, about 1.5% after the distribution by RMI of their Discovery stake, and RMI in turn dropping 47%, so the distribution being the main reason for that. On the winner's side, we've seen the rand hedges, Mondi, for example, up 3%, and ABN Bev up 4% on the back of obviously the weaker rand, but also Heineken results that were better than expected, driving ABN Bev higher.
Mm-hmm. The rand has also lost ground to international currencies since the inflation data was released. What is the reason behind that?
Yeah, so the rand is being driven by both local and international factors. As you mentioned, the inflation number, it was very much expected. I think where it ended up, the March inflation or headline CPI at 5.9% compared to consensus of 6%. But I think the rand, mainly driven by local factors such as the load shedding that we're seeing, as well as the flooding, the damage and disruptions by the floods in KZN, but also international factors which are related to us, driving a stronger dollar, the increasing yields that we're finding, and the accelerated tightening in terms of monetary policy in the US. Mm-hmm. So all of those, add to a bit of risk-off environment.
What about consumer price inflation, which was up, 0.2% in March? What does it mean for consumers, and which items exactly were responsible for the increase in inflation that month?
Yeah, so I think no major surprises on the key drivers there. And as I said, the headline number is marginally below consensus, actually. Main drivers there being food, transport, housing and utilities. So again, highlighting that the higher oil price and petrol price driving transport costs, and utilities being driven by electricity prices. So I think overall, no real surprise there. The South African Reserve Bank did highlight the expectation of higher inflation for the rest of the year in their meeting last week. So I think in terms of the interest rate hiking cycle, that'll probably continue. The inflation number is still, just marginally below that 6% target. So I think for now, nothing will change. But for the consumer, obviously, it does put pressure on in terms of the pocket, because food, petrol, electricity, all costing a lot more. So your buying power diminishing. And of course, you've got interest rate hiking cycles, so your mortgages will cost a bit more.
And Anglo American, of course, some news there that we can't not discuss today. They've appointed Duncan Wanblad as the new CEO. Excuse me, that surname will take some getting used to from my side. He's now going to succeed Mark Cutifani. What do we know about him and what he can do for the company?
Yeah, so he's actually quite a strong appointment, given that he's been, most of his career has been at Anglo American through various divisions there. And another plus is that he is South African, so he's the first South African CEO in the last 15 years. Within the group, he's been across various divisions, most recently in the base metals, being CEO of the base metals division of Anglo American, and also group director for strategy and business development. So I think his knowledge across multiple commodities as well as jurisdictions, and especially his knowledge of the South African environment will be quite important for Anglo.